Hi, and welcome back to the Gaily Digest. I'm Nigel.
And I'm Joshua,
How have you been, Joshua?
enjoying the weather. For
It's brilliant.
once, for
It's
once, I'm going to shock everyone. I'm not cold. The miracle.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to say you're going to shock everyone. For once, you've been outside topless.
That's still a work in progress. Been about 14 years since I've done that.
Well, for once, I am cold because I'm full of cold. So I'm not very well for this episode. So I'm going to do my best to get through it and try not to sound too croaky. Um, but we are going to have another full fun-packed episode this week. We're going to have our usual news roundup. We're going to be talking about things in conversation. We're going to have our usual little moans because Josh loves to be a moany old bitch. And that's going to be all for this week. So without further ado, let's crack on with the show. So let's start with the news roundup. We've got some news that we're going to cover this week, and one of the first ones that we've found is, or we've seen, is the fact that Plymouth Pride has cancelled this year due to a lack of funding. Um, they've cancelled because of a lack of funding. Last year's event cost them £33,500. And this year, organisers only managed to raise £21,500, leaving a shortfall of about £12,000. National Lottery funding application was submitted to try and get some additional support to be able to put it on. Unfortunately, that was unsuccessful too. Organisers said that they hope to bring Pride back in 2026, but they would need significantly more support to keep it free and sustainable. And I think that's one of the important things about Pride, about trying not to monetize it, keeping it free for people to attend. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Josh, but when it comes to Pride events, it is quite important to try and keep something like that that's available for everyone, because obviously everyone's circumstances are different, and if you're charging an extortionate price for a ticket to get in, then it can kind of rule some people out, unfortunately. Um, so I think they've been struggling with sponsors this year, and I think that's a shame that Plymouth Pride has got to cancel. And if our dear friend Lawrence is listening, that's Plymouth Pride, not Portsmouth. Um,
Only Lawrence will get that.
yes, the engagement party that went to in Portsmouth, and he thought it was Plymouth, which is a completely different place. Um, but yeah, I think that's a shame that the people of Plymouth are going to miss out on their Pride event this year. But then there's going to be other events that hopefully they can go to. They just have to travel a bit further afield to go to them. I mean, what do you think about that, Josh?
Well, I think a lot of sponsorships are the companies are quite frightened to sponsor Pride at the moment because obviously the far right and things are quite attacking companies that support LGBT.
Yeah.
Um, so there's probably a lot of funding being lost for that. I think they work in conjunction with a cancer charity. I don't know that specific, the Rainbow Project.
Um,
I'm pretty sure they work. It's a partnership with a cancer charity as well, so that's a double shame.
hmm.
But yeah, I think at the moment it's more important now than ever to have Pride events because we are constantly under attack all the time in the media.
This is the
Um,
thing. I think this is something obviously we'll probably be covering in more depth when we have our Pride episode in June. Um, but yeah, you're right. Pride is such an important thing for us to be having. Pride is Pride is a celebration, but Pride is also a protest. It started as a protest. It continues to be a protest, but these days it is also a celebration. And missing out on that, I think, or taking that away. I mean, there are going to be people that are quite happy that it's been cancelled. You know, you're going to have people along the lines of the, as you say, the far right, the right wing people that don't agree with Pride, and the sort of people that say, "Oh, when's straight Pride?" Every fucking day. You know, be grateful that your rights have never been oppressed so much. Um, but yeah, pride is so important. It is a shame that there's a community out there that's going to miss out on their pride because of that.
I agree. And there's going to be people celebrating that it's been cancelled. As you said, people who go, win straight pride, or where's our flag? I'm like, you have a flag. It's lovely beige, like your
Actually, no.
personality.
Actually, no. The straight pride flag is
What
just
is it?
it's isn't it black, grey, and white?
It matches their
It's
personalities
literally black, grey, and
perfectly.
white. It is literally black, grey, and white. It's nothing as joyous and as colourful as ours.
It's dull and
I,
boring.
I will find it and I will share it with you. But yeah, yeah. So it's a shame, people of Plymouth. You're not going to get your pride this year. I hope that something can be done to
Well,
perhaps bring it back. But
hopefully this will make people realise what they're not going to get, and they'll rally round and do like a crowdfunding, and people will, because they weren't that far off. There was over half what they needed.
yeah, I think they've got a third of what they needed, haven't they, roughly?
Yeah. Well,
Um,
did you say 21,000 out of 36?
so no, last year's cost 33,500.
Yeah.
They've got 21,500 this year so far, which is a shortfall of 12,000 of what they ideally need to be able to run the event.
Well, hopefully people will rally round now from the local area.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
hopefully, hopefully.
I have hope.
We all have hope, and I think that's one of the key things about our community: hope. So, what news are you gonna go through with us, Josh?
Well, this is a news article that I knew was coming out before it was out. I have contacts.
No,
But
you don't. You've got glasses. I can see you've got glasses. You're wearing them.
oh, you're so funny, Nigel. Not. This is about the conversion therapy bill that's coming into our government. God
Yes,
knows how many times these bills have come in so far and never got anywhere. So hopefully this one does. This is a fully inclusive one, so this includes trans people as well, which I've been saying since the start that it needs to be a completely inclusive ban.
100%.
Um, but one of the main people that spoke to the BBC about this article was Ben, who
Ben Gibbons.
our listeners may remember. We did an episode all on conversion therapy, and
Yes,
Ben shared his story and what he'd been through and how it affected him and things like that. So I highly recommend listening to that if you haven't already.
episode
But
5, wasn't it?
I believe so. I've not got the best memory compared to you.
We know.
But yeah, he explained that like he had to have years of therapy to try and overcome the damage that they'd caused. And there was obviously a few other people that also spoke to the BBC about this. And I am hopeful that it will go through this time. Because I'm pretty sure most people would say, although a lot of people don't seem to think that it's still a thing.
Mm.
Like I've said before in the past, I've had family that go, that doesn't happen here. It happens in places like America. And I was like, no, it's very much still here. It's just that you don't hear about it. Um, so yeah, I think that I'm hoping this bill comes in, and I hope it also covers these so-called talking therapies as well,
Yes.
which is it's not talking therapy, it's torture, it's brainwashing. That's what it's doing to you.
Well, that's the thing. When Ben shared his story with us, it kind of really sort of touched us a bit. In fact, it touched us quite a bit. I mean, listening to his experience, what he went through, what he had to deal with, um, was pretty horrendous. And I would never wish that, not even on my worst enemy. I would never wish that kind of treatment or that behavior on anyone, um, because it's horrible, it's abhorrent, and you know, losing people close to you as a result of it, and that having to go through feeling ostracized and isolated as well. It's just
I just find it
in
astounding that it still goes on.
but this is the thing. I mean, to learn that that kind of stuff still goes on, and the fact that people are going through this and feeling like they have to go through it because of whatever ties they have, whether it be ties to family, ties to religion, or anything like that. Um, and it almost strikes me that it's one of those things that it doesn't take the thoughts, feelings, or views of the individual, more the perception of the group.
Well, I'm
That
hoping
that
that it also does not give religion a free pass, because I am kind of sick of all these kind of things, and they just scream, "It's my religion," and then they just get to do whatever they want.
well, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, yes, religion is one of the protected characteristics in the Equality Act in the UK, um, but that shouldn't mean that that should be that it doesn't mean that that should trump another protected characteristic.
And allow you to
Um,
torture people.
and allow you to behave that way, and discriminate using that as your excuse or that as your defense. Um, you know, we have these protected characteristics to protect us from discrimination for those protected characteristics. We don't have those protected characteristics to then use them as an excuse to say you can't criticize me for this because of this. And that's the important thing to, I think, differentiate.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, for those who haven't heard it, it was our episode called Healing from Hate. I think pretty sure it was episode 5. If you haven't listened to it, go and give it a listen and listen to Ben's story. And there's also going to be his article that we have shared on our socials as well, that is worth giving a read, um, because I think we were so grateful to Ben for sharing that, sharing his story, sharing his experiences, because it is an eye opener. And I think it's very brave of him to be so open and come out and talk about it, because only by talking about it and sharing those stories can we start to look at making positive change and bringing in, helping those that are going through it or that are being put through it to realize you don't have to go through this and you shouldn't have to go through this. There are ways out of this, and there is support out there for you to stop this kind of behavior and these kinds of practices from taking place.
Yeah, and in the article as well, there was some research done by Opinium, and they asked 2,000 people who identify as LGBTQ plus, whether they'd been exposed to any of these practices. And I was just looking at some of them, and some of them, out of the 2,000, it said 17% of them had experienced physical assault, 12% had experienced pseudoscientific counseling lessons, 15% had been threatened with homelessness, and then 10% said they'd experienced exorcisms. Now, these are quite high percentages. In 2025, 10% of these people had an exorcism just for being LGBT plus.
If someone tried to put me through an exorcism, I'd turn around and say, "Here, have some of my ectoplasm."
They'd probably like that. A lot of these, although as I always say, the ones that scream the loudest have the most to hide.
But all joking aside, I mean that was a pretty crude joke. But all joking aside, the practices that members of our community are put through to stop them from being themselves, their true authentic selves, are disgraceful. And they shouldn't take place. They shouldn't be happening. And the conversion therapy ban, the all-inclusive conversion therapy ban, and that I think is one of the most important aspects of this, that it is all-inclusive. It includes our trans siblings, because they have been targeted and victimized and ostracized so much, over recent years, because of the gender critical movement and anti-trans lobbyists. Um, So the fact that the conversion therapy ban does include everyone, and rightly so, I hope that this goes through and
Well,
that,
you need to speak up and you need to contact your MPs and you need to say this is important. This is why you need to vote for this. And if they don't vote for it, call them out on it.
yeah,
Because sitting by and hoping for the best is not good enough at the moment. You need to call it out. You need
yeah,
to make sure it's fully inclusive, and you need to pressure your MPs into voting for this because this shouldn't be even on their mindsets to vote against it because it's
yeah.
literally causing permanent harm to people.
I have written to my MP, and I have
I've
to
also
say he
written
was,
to mine.
and I have to say he was pretty. His response was pretty positive around equality and stuff like that. So I'm kind of hoping I will keep an eye on it. I'm kind of hoping that he does um, he does vote for the all-inclusive ban
Yeah, well, my
going
MP,
forward.
you've met my MP several times. I know her personally. She is part of the community, so she's assured me she will be voting in favour of the ban, fully inclusive.
Yeah,
I'm always emailing her about the puberty blockers and all sorts. I'm emailing her all the time saying I'm educating her, saying you need to vote against this, you need to do this. So hopefully there's a lots of like-minded MPs like ours, bar some. Um, but yeah, get onto them and pressure them and tell them why this needs to go through and why it's important.
yeah, uh, absolutely. Find out who your MP is. Write to them. I really hope you're not really unlucky and have an MP that's reform or anything like that. But write to your MP, get them to support the ban, uh, because it's so important. And there are people out there, and there's probably a silent majority out there that are going to be suffering, but they're too afraid to speak out. They're too afraid to talk about what's going on and what's happening. But yeah, let's get this ban through. Let's have a nice next positive change for the LGBTQ plus community. This week in conversation, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 release, aren't we, Josh?
Yes, I'm a very big Nintendo fan, as you know.
I'm a Nintendo fan as well. Nintendo was the first games console I had, so I think I've actually had every Nintendo console except for the SNES because my sister got the SNES.
Yes, well, I started at the Game Boy, but the big Game Boy,
Mm.
because I'm not as
But
old as you. So I remember it was the giant red one. In fact, there is a picture my mum's got of me holding that, and it looks like I'm holding like a bloody tablet nowadays. It's gigantic.
but yeah, so Nintendo announced their Switch 2, the long-awaited Switch 2, on 2nd of April, a couple of weeks ago. And obviously, pre-orders went live this week. We've managed to get ours pre-ordered, haven't we?
That was the not one of the most stressful moments of my life. I was like texting you, going, Nigel, they're live, go. And then you weren't replying to me.
Oh
So
no.
then
Yeah,
I
but I was
ordered you one
busy.
anyway, just to be safe. So I got you one. And then you messaged going, got one. And I thought, great, I've just
I
bought
did.
two.
Yeah, but you know why? I didn't see your message saying we've got you one. That's why I didn't see your message saying we've got you one. So that's why I literally all I saw was the message saying they're live. Go, go, go. And I went
I
and
didn't
I
even
got,
tell you where they were live, did I? I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I was too excited. I was just like sending loads of messages.
But no, I managed to get. I pre-ordered it with the camera and the Pro controller, which is nice.
Yes.
So
I'm looking forward to it a lot.
I'm looking forward to that on June the 5th. But obviously, people might be wondering why we're talking about that on a podcast called the Gaily Digest. Simple reason being is that gaming is quite prominent amongst our community. It's quite a big thing, isn't it? Gamers, being GAYMERS. And we for the past 5 years since the coronavirus lockdown. Um, we've been having Mario Kart tournaments on the Switch, which is something I started a few years ago to help with people during lockdown, especially those within our community that were on their own. Um, but what are you looking most forward to on the release? What sort of things about it are you most
Well,
excited about?
I'm gonna say the one negative first,
Is
and that
this?
is it's because it's not an OLED
I
screen.
knew you were going to say
Now,
that. I knew you were going to
I'm
say that.
I'm a bit of a visionary person who needs really good screens. And although it might look really good, I don't know, I haven't been on it, but
Well, it's
when
HDR, isn't it?
yes, when they said it was an OLED, I was like, no, no, I wanted OLED. But
You
other
know
than
why?
that,
They're going to release an OLED version in about 2 or 3, 4 years, aren't they?
yeah,
You just know it,
yeah, yeah,
and then
like they have with all the
and then we'll be
others.
scrambling to get that.
But that's the only negative to me, other than the fact that I can't use my 1 terabyte SD card. There's another negative for you. But yeah,
Are you?
positives. I'm glad that it's going to be HDR, and I'm very happy that it's going to be 4K.
Yes, I'm really
Um,
excited about that.
you got 120 FPS when it's docked, which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to there being a lot more AAA games because it is a lot more powerful than the current one I
Mm.
have. There's going to be a couple of games I'm excited for, like the enhanced Breath of the Wild Zelda games, because I'm obsessed with Zelda. There's also going to be a Switch 2 version of the new Pokemon game, so that's also a bonus for me. But games that I am very looking forward to is the Mario Kart, obviously, because the last one we kind of got very repetitive after like 5 years.
I think we played it to death, didn't we? I mean,
Yes.
it's still a good game. It's still a really good game. It's still really exciting. Still really fun to do, especially when you get a group together and you've got a chat going on. You're playing online and you're bitching at each other because you keep getting each other with shells and shit like that. Um, but yeah, Mario Kart World is
This one does
the
look like it's going to be a lot harder
yes.
because there's a lot more to take in.
Well, there's a lot more different uh, playing options, isn't there? I mean, one of the new ones is the knockout tournament.
Yeah, isn't that
So
where you have to race to a certain
so basic,
location if you don't
yes,
get there?
no. So basically, you've got your race. You can have up to 24 races this time instead of the usual 12. So that opens it up for more people to join in, more people to play. The knockout tournament is basically you do the course, you race on the course, and you have checkpoints throughout the across the course, and on that checkpoint you'll have a number. That number you have to be that number in the running order. So, for example, if the number is 8, you have to be in position 1 to 8 to get through. If you're ninth, you get knocked out. If you're ninth or above, you get knocked out, and that's it. And then it literally knocks it down to the remaining players that are racing. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And you've got free reign as well. So you
Yes.
get free roam, I think it's called, where you can just literally just go. You don't have to stick to the course. You can literally go everywhere, and there's little Easter eggs that are going to be planted about here, there, and everywhere for things that for you to find, for you to do, for you to get. Um, and there's your usual tournaments as well. There is another Nintendo Direct coming up on the 17th of April, which is obviously after this pod goes out, and that is going to give more in-depth um, a more in-depth explanation of what to expect in Mario Kart World. I'm hoping they've still got the balloon battle because that's a classic element of
All I
Mario
want
Kart.
is those zappy boxes. It's my favorite item ever, and it still hasn't come back. That's all I want.
There's new items though. I noticed there's new items.
I know, but I want the little zappy box.
There's
Although I
there's
am
even
glad that the paragliders are gone. I like that they're like little jet wings come out now. I like that. Like
there's
Transformers.
there's I did notice that on the footage that we saw, I think there's like a super mushroom that you get that makes you bigger.
Yeah, you
So you can
squash
literally,
everyone.
so you literally just drive over. But it's almost like you're driving a monster truck, driving over people.
I love that. But yeah, another game that's coming out that I know you're going to want as well is the Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yes.
That looks so
Well,
good.
I've got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, haven't I? It's the expansion that comes with it.
Yes, and then we've got the Donkey Kong as well. That looks like an open world Donkey Kong, which I don't think
Yeah.
there's ever been one of those.
No, I think it's the first open world Donkey Kong, isn't it? And it, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Mario Odyssey, which was an open world Mario,
Yes.
rather than the platform Mario. What else was there? Yes,
Wasn't
it's
there another racing one?
it's the Kirby one, isn't it?
Yeah, Kirby Racing. See, I
Yeah.
need that and all. 'Cause that looks Kirby is adorable. Honestly, I'm gonna. Oh, and I did not find out today actually. You know the little Switch game that's come that they showed where you kind of explore the inside of the Switch.
Yes,
That was announced today, and I think it's about £10. That's how much it's going to be,
that's not
which I
bad, is
think is
it?
quite good. I like that because I like things like that. Because PlayStation did a similar one with the PS5 with the little robot,
Yeah.
so I like that idea. But yeah, I'm still not happy about my SD card. I've now got to try and find an
As long as you
express card.
as long as you get it by June the 5th, as long as you get it for release day, for when you
Yeah,
get
you
it.
can't because they've all gone and they're all like 9 months waiting list. And express cards, because they're recently new, you can only get up to about 256 gig anyway.
True.
And I,
I have been looking for them, and I can find 128 gig, and the 256 gig are out of stock.
yeah, but the 126 gig or whatever, you have to wait 9 months for it. I don't have time for this. Oh, in fact,
On the plus side, the Switch 2 itself does have 256 gig storage.
true, that's quite a jump from the 32 in the other one.
It was 64 gig, wasn't it, on the OLED?
No, I
I
meant the
think.
original.
Yeah, 32 was the original. Was 32 the original?
Yeah, it was
And
quite
then
low.
64 was the OLED.
But even from the 64, that's a massive, what, 200 more, near
Mm,
enough.
yeah,
Although they'll always be pesky and steal 20 gig of that on software or whatever.
probably. But then, I mean, what about
Oh,
other?
I
What
forgot
about
to
other?
I
Go
forgot to
on.
mention the GameCube games are coming to it. How did I
Yes,
forget? Pokemon Gale of Darkness and everything is coming to it.
yes.
I did do a little squeal when I saw that on the telly, I must say.
Are you going to get the GameCube controller, the Switch controller?
I don't know because they're really hard to get and they're very expensive.
I
And
suppose it.
they normally only let you buy one.
I suppose it would depend upon when it goes available and how much it is.
I can always ask for one for Christmas. That way I don't have to pay for it. That's my
Oh,
plan. My Christmas list is just going to be Switch 2 accessories.
the one thing I'll say though about things for the Switch 2, games in particular, I've seen the price lists of them, and you're looking at a minimum of about 64.99 for a game
Yeah, although
for most of them.
they are finally making digital versions cheaper,
Yes.
but not cheaper enough. I think they should be a lot cheaper because the production costs are so like there's no production costs, there's no cases, there's no printing, nothing.
Thing is, one thing I'll say on that, another thing they've obviously announced is the fact that the the game cards or the game cartridges that you put into them, not all of them actually have the game on because the game is too big to fit on the game card. So the game card acts as a key card that when you plug it in, you then download the game. So
That's probably going to
the
be like AAA ones because
so the
I've
key
seen the
thing,
updates on other consoles, they're huge.
yeah, so the key thing to do with those, and I think this would be a little bit of advice for
Key
people out there,
things, literally, key
would
things.
yeah, would be that those games just buy the digital version, don't buy the game card version, because if you buy the game card version, it costs you a bit more.
Yeah, it's very strange.
All you're doing is paying for the physical key card to download the game when you could just purchase the download and
Yeah.
download it.
Although
So
I am in the minority where I do prefer digital.
the I
I know people say physical's better because you own it, you can resell it and all that
the
stuff. But I just like to have all my games just on it. I haven't got to look for cartridges and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean they had something they are introducing is the digital game card, so you don't have to put the game card in for a certain amount of games. Is it 8 or
Yeah, and
4?
you can also loan them as well, which I really like.
Yeah,
And I think also, say you had, because you've got Mario Party Jamboree that's also
yeah.
going to have DLC. Say I wanted to play it on my Switch and your Switch, but I didn't own the game,
Then I
I
could
can
share it
still
with you.
play it. You can
Yeah,
share it with me and we can have our own screens. Or
yeah.
it's like Mario Kart, like maybe I could play on the telly when you're here and you can be on your own screen linked to the same thing.
Excuse
But
me,
yeah,
if you're borrowing mine, I'm playing on the telly.
no, because my TV is an OLED and it's the only way I'm going to see the Switch game in an OLED. But yeah, I do like the idea that I can loan them out. So say like my brother wanted to play a game and I'd finished it, I can loan him the game, I think for a week or two
Yes.
weeks. I really like that idea.
It's also good for people who are perhaps thinking of getting the game. So you loan it, and they're like, right, we'll try this. Yeah, I actually quite like that. Right, I'm going to get the game.
Although most people could finish a game in a week, but easy, certain games.
Yeah,
And I like the new chat feature as well because when we've played Mario Kart in the past, we've had to use Discord, and then if someone wants to join, you've got to share the Discord and link
yeah,
in and all this stuff. Now we just press the C button,
yep,
and in the game, as long as your friend's on the Switch, you're in the chat, and then the
yeah.
camera can show your face, and it's just all built in, so you haven't got
And
to faff around.
that's the new feature on the controllers, isn't it? That's the new C button that's on the controllers. You just press it, and it'll open up your gamer chat menu, and then you can go from there. And um,
Yeah, my prediction was wrong. I thought the C button was going to be when someone annoys you in the game, you press it and it calls them the C word. That's what I thought it was going to do, but unfortunately it didn't.
to save you from having to say the word, you mean?
I don't say that word. I'm saving it for the day that I see people like Trump or Farage. That's the day I'll say it.
Oh, save it for the most important.
I have a list of people that I can call it.
But yeah, so the price tag for the Switch 2, 395.99 for the just the console, 429.99 for the console with Mario Kart World Bundle. They're
I
the
think that's quite good. It's
only
about £25 discount then, isn't it?
well, the game is 74.99.
Yeah, so it's worth just
Yeah,
getting that.
the game is 74.99 if you were to purchase the game on its own. So if you purchase that with the 395 price tag, you're looking at 470. So yeah, you are looking at about what 40 quid discount on the game. So it does work out better if you're going to get the Switch 2, get it with the Mario Kart World bundle rather than get the console and then just buy the game later on
Mm,
because you'll end up spending more. So
exactly.
that's the key thing with that.
But the
Um,
Nintendo pre-orders do start. Is it the 9th? The
Yes,
9th. So
they
so
started on the
when you've
9th.
listened to this, you better have got one. Because if you didn't, although you can only get one, can't you? If you've got, is it an online subscription and things, you get an
No, what
invitation.
I think what they did they did they were doing an offer that they're doing invites for people that meet certain criteria. So they have the online subscription, they have X amount of playing hours. So effectively for the most loyal people, and I think the reason why they've done that is perhaps to try and stop the scalpers from that just don't play and then just buying consoles to sell them for extortionate prices.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping
So,
they limit it to one per household.
mm,
But I will say that I got the email because I'm a really good fan and Nigel didn't.
yeah,
Just
thanks
just
for that.
just throwing that out
Thanks.
there.
Yeah, thanks for that, Josh. This make me feel a
Not
whole lot better.
not that I'm going to use that email because I've already got one now pre-ordered. So I think they did release on like Amazon, Smiths, and Argos at the same time, and
And
it was
very,
yeah, and I think they sold out within 2 minutes. So that
yeah.
shows the demand
Well, I pre-ordered mine on
for it.
Very. I pre-ordered mine on Very because I did the buy now pay later,
I
which
also did very.
works out better for me. But you can't find them on there now. So they've
They
obviously
weren't on there long. They were gone. And
no, so they've obviously met their quota of what they're
although
going
I
to
will
get.
say though, because they're the same company, Littlewoods is a partner company to Very.
Yeah,
I think they still have some on there, but they are selling theirs for like £600. They add such a high amount on top of the base price, and then they go, it's interest free, but it's not really because you're charging like £150 more. That's going to prey on people, I think, that don't have the money ready now and they can't get one.
yeah. You see, I don't like that. I like it if the thing I like about Very is they do buy now pay later, interest free for 12 months.
And
So you
it's
got
the price it is in anywhere else.
exactly. So you get to pay it off within the 12 months, um, or longer. But if you longer than 12 months, you just pay the interest on it. But I I am looking forward to it. I'm really excited about Mario Kart World. One game I really do want, which is going to be on my birthday list because it comes out, I think, a week and a bit before my birthday,
Is
is
it Donkey
Donkey Kong
Kong? Yeah,
Bonanza.
that does look
Um,
like a very good game.
it does look like a good game, and I'm going to get the DLC for Mario Party Jamboree because that looks really cool. And some of the games that you can play, especially when you can use the camera with it as well, I think that looks really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. Um,
I'll be collecting all the enhanced versions of like Zelda games and stuff just to replay in 4K. As long as they're not really expensive, because it's just an upgrade to 4K. If they try and charge me
I
like
think
twenty
that
pounds,
I think they're 64.99. The game,
well,
if you're buying the game with the expansion,
well, I own the game. If they try and charge me something ridiculous like £24 for an enhancement, I'll be like, no, thank you, goodbye, not paying that.
trouble is we're not going to know until it comes out and you go onto the Nintendo eShop, are we?
Yes,
That's going to be
exactly.
that's going to be the problem. But yeah, Nintendo Switch 2 comes out on June the 5th. You know how
Not
much the
long.
price? Yeah, I know. You know how much the price tags are. It's only what, 6 weeks? 6 weeks from when this is out.
I may have a countdown timer on my phone.
I'm actually free that day. I'm free. I'm around so that when it arrives, I'll be like, yep, plugging that straight in, setting that up.
I
Mm.
will disappear for many, many days when that arrives.
The beauty is we could do it, and then we could literally just go online and practice online with it,
I
couldn't
can,
we?
yeah, I can beat you on Mario Kart like normal.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Although it looks a lot more complex now with new items, so you never know. My skills may fail me.
Yes, I'll probably be playing.
Might finally be your chance to get that crown.
Oh, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I know you are. And I'm looking forward to seeing the improved quality on the games, the 4K-ness of them as well.
Yes.
So that's something to look forward to. It's now time for Josh to be a moany old bitch again.
Time to be, I'll never stop.
It's time for the complaints closet. So this is our usual little spot each episode where we have a little moan. And am I going to go first this time, or are you going to go first?
I can go first if you want.
You know what you're going to moan about?
Yes.
Go
Something that
on then.
happened today. I actually had a
Oh.
rant. I actually had a rant with you actually on the phone about this subject.
Go on.
All right, my complaint today is going to be about my grandma. Now, before anyone says anything, yes, I'm going to miss it when she's gone, and I love her to bits. But bloody hell, she can be annoying.
Sorry. Hang on. I'm gonna stop you there for a minute. You're gonna miss it when she's gone. Don't you
Miss
mean you're
the
gonna miss her when she's
no,
gone?
no, miss this complaint that I'm going to moan about. You know what I mean? Anyway,
Just for clarity for
she
our dear listeners.
she is on Facebook Messenger, which took a very long time to teach her. So she sends me about 7,000 messages a day, needing help with various things. If I don't reply, she will send me one message every 10 seconds. I don't know why. Maybe she forgets that she messaged me.
think it's to get your attention. I think she thinks if she
But
hassles you, you'll reply.
she'll, well, she'll, today's thing, she messaged me saying her TV box wasn't working. It was, she could hear it, but she couldn't see anything. So in order for me to help, she said, "Can you help me?" and sent me a picture of her telly with a blank screen. Now, and her reflection. And I'm like, okay, that does not help me in any way.
Was it a reflection like, when you have people on social media selling mirrors and they take a picture of the mirror and it's them in really awkward positions?
Well, luckily she wasn't nude because that sometimes happens with people with mirrors. But then I was like, "Have you turned it off and on again? How do I do that?" And I'm like, "With the plug." Or she'll say, "I'm trying to turn the telly off," and I'm like, "Well, which remote are you using?" And then she's using the wrong remote. And then when she comes up to my house sometimes when I'm away, I'll write her like 3 pages of every button on the remote, how to use it, what to do, what you click on. If this doesn't happen, you do this, like really detailed, ridiculously detailed. She will still call me every single like 4 hours because she doesn't know how to turn the volume down or whatever. But my telly is one remote. It's all the sound and everything is one remote. And she can never work it out. But the thing that annoys me the most is it's the same remote she uses for her TV. I don't
So she
understand
can
why
work.
she just can't grasp technology, and she's not even that old. She just doesn't listen. Can't. She just does not grasp technology. I can teach her. I could send her to a masterclass course, and she will not remember any of it.
I do love your grandma. She's brilliant.
She does it all, or she'll
She's
say
she's so lovely though.
she loves to send me pictures of things when she wants stuff to be fixed or sorted. It's like when she asked me to order that thing off TV the other week. It was like on this morning or something, it was some gadget, and she just took a picture of her TV and said, "Can you get me this?" And I don't even know what it is. There's no name of it. It's just a screenshot of her TV, some woman's hand holding this little device thing. I haven't got a clue what it is. And then I goes, "Well, what is it?" And she goes, "I think it's a plug." What? Okay, so I'll go on Google and search thing that might be a plug that was on this morning. She does this all the time. Honestly, she's all you've seen it. She sends me pictures of things that make
I
no
remember.
sense.
I remember. I do remember her sending you a picture of something that was on the TV screen, and that was all she sent. No
Yeah,
context, just sent it to you, and you were like, "What she sent me this for?"
yeah. And I said, why have you sent me that picture? "Oh, I wanted you to order it." And I'm like, "Well, ask." She just sends me a picture of it. It's like sometimes she wants me to order her some sweets, and she'll go, "Can you order me these sweets I tried?" I goes, "Okay, what are they?" "Well, they were green in a wrapper with gold ends on it." And I'm like, "What?" She thinks I'm a wizard that can like cast magic and summon stuff. She does it all the time. She
Oh,
just asks me to order things with the most vague description when there's probably like 7 billion different sweets in the world, and I've got to find
I,
this one green sweet with a gold wrapper.
the one thing I will say is I do love your grandma. She's got such a wonderful character. She's just so funny. Um, she's
She's
just
just a bit
brilliant.
slow.
She's just brilliant.
I went to
She's just
Costa the other day with her, and she stood at the till for like 5 minutes, and I was like, "You need to hurry up. There's a queue." And then,
this is
which was one,
this
this was one of my complaints from
this was one of your
before.
complaints the other week.
And then all she did was she ordered a bloody tea, which she always orders in the first place. After all that, she didn't even check. She just ordered a tea. It's like you've come to a coffee shop, stood in the queue for 5 minutes, backed the queue up, and you've chosen a cup of tea. Honestly, every time I go out of her, it takes me about 7 hours longer than it should because she just I don't
Yeah,
know.
but you
She
know
just
what?
makes everything
You know what?
difficult.
These thing is the not to wish her life away or anything, but these are the things you're going to remember, and you're going to look back on, and you're just going to be like, you know what? Yeah, it was probably a bit of hassle at the time, but I do miss it. I
I
do
know,
miss
and I
all that.
will say I have tried to explain when we first started this podcast, I tried to explain to her that I've started a podcast, and she didn't know what it was. I tried to explain to her what it was. I even sent her one of the YouTube ones, and then she started messaging me going, "It ain't working. I can't see you." And I said, "Because it's a podcast, you can't see me. It's just my voice." Then she kept saying, "Is it live?" And I was like, "Well, no, because I'm talking to you now whilst you're playing it." And every time I mention the podcast, she doesn't know. She just keeps saying, "What's a podcast?" I'm like, "I've told you about 18,000 times." And
You
then
know what you want?
again, she'll go, "Where's the video?" And she's
You know,
playing it on, like, I won't say her name because it'll trigger everyone's things, but the Amazon device. She's playing it on that, and I'm like, "How would you see me anyway? It's just a speaker. There's no screen." So I don't. She's like, "I can't see you." And I'm like, "You've just got a dot. It's just a speaker. There's no screen. How would you see me? It's not going to project onto a wall." But this, I have this every single day. There's always something. The amount of stories.
I tell you, your life is comical.
I could write a book
Absolutely.
just on my grandma. The things that she
Your
can't do
grandmaisms
or takes an eternity to do. I'm
and the
still
things
looking
she
for
comes
them
out with.
sweets that she wanted. I still haven't discovered what they are. If anybody knows the green sweets with a clear wrapper and gold tips, please let me know.
They're not Lindt chocolates, are they?
No, she said it's a hard-boiled sweet. I don't know. Who even has them
Werther's?
nowadays? Are they green? Maybe
No,
if you leave them in your bag too long.
probably. Probably.
Anyway, I'll let you moan now because I've had my little rant. But again, I love my grandma and I will miss these annoyances when she's gone. But I think that even though I'm complaining, the stories are hilarious.
To be fair, she is your grandma, and you're entitled to have your little moans from time to time, even though they are about the funny things that she gets up to and does
Although
and says.
one more thing, we're not because we're going away on holiday this year. I won't say when, in case I get burgled. But she went, it's abroad, and she went, "How are you getting there?" And I was like, "I'm gonna swim."
Walking.
And she went, because I'm really sarcastic. I went, "I'm gonna swim." And she went, "You can't swim." I went, "Obviously, I'm not gonna swim. It's gonna be on a
Yeah,
plane."
you should have said drive. You're going to drive there.
And then she went, "Does the plane just take you straight to the hotel?" I was like, "Well, I hope not. Just fly into the hotel."
No, you just a parachute off the plane.
Can you imagine me trying to do that with my back?
Oh, I'm still ill.
Well, anyway, I'll let
Make
Nigel talk now before I think of any more stories because I'm making him choke to death in a different way than usual.
utter filth. Oh dear. Well, my moan this week is something that was on the television last weekend, and that is the Grand National. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I hate it for a number of reasons. I think it's cruel. I think it's abhorrent. The horses get whipped repeatedly, all in an effort to make them run faster, to make them money, to make people money that bet on them. And I just hate it. I cannot stand it. I won't ever place a bet on it. I don't see how placing a bet on animals that get mistreated is achieving anything except for perhaps a bit of self gain, and I think it's selfish. Um, I've never willingly gone down and placed a bet on it. The only thing I will say is that when I was a kid, my nan would say, pick a horse. In the papers it had like the names of the horses. Pick a horse, I'll put £1 on for you,
I
and
was
then
about to say my grandma did that when I
and
was
whatever
little.
and whatever you win, if you win, whatever you win is yours. So being young, you don't think anything more of it. But I've grown up. And yeah, I just do not understand. And there's probably going to be people that are listening to this that may or may not have placed bets on it and not actually thought about or been aware of the stuff that actually goes on behind closed doors. I mean, there was a horse. I think it was at least one horse that's died as a result of a nasty fall
I
that
did
had to
see the
be.
clip of that, and it like
I
when
s-
you scroll, when you're
yeah,
scrolling and it auto plays.
yeah,
I
I
did
saw that
see
as
that, and
well.
it did make me feel
Yeah,
unwell.
I saw that as well. And I deliberately chose not to share it with you because I knew that you wouldn't be happy seeing it.
Unfortunately, it found its way to me anyway.
Yeah, but I just it's frustrating.
It's the same as bull riding and the
Yes, in
what
Spain,
are the
it's
well, that's not bull
it's
riding, but
it's the
what's
bullfighting
yeah,
in
that one
Spain,
as
isn't it?
well. Although I do
Um,
like when in the bull gets to run through the streets and then the bull always gets someone and skewers them. I'm like, good,
skewer someone's asshole.
good, skewer them,
Yes,
revenge.
but any kind of sport. I mean, my moan has been about the Grand National, but any kind of sport where animals are mistreated, injured, or anything like that, or tortured, because
I
at the
don't
end of
see
the
it as a
day,
sport or
no, it's not. To the people that run it, it is, but it's not a sport.
if
It's
money
just
weren't in
cruel.
it, they wouldn't do it.
Of course they wouldn't, because there's no money in it. There's nothing to be made. It's like fox hunting. I mean, they sort of go under the guise of, oh, that's a great British tradition. Piss off, is it? Might be a tradition, but you're still doing something that's going to be to the detriment of a living creature.
Yeah, well, they get like I can't understand why you get a joy out of seeing animals torn apart. But
I don't.
on the Grand National thing you mentioned first, as long as these snooty people can trot in there with their big giant hats and
Mm,
stuff, they don't care. They think it's fun, and all the celebrities doing it.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
I have seen people from within our community posting things about they've placed a bet or they've actually gone to the Grand National and stuff like that, and they've all been suited and booted and stuff like that. But and this isn't. I'm not saying this to shame them, because it may well be that they've got into this not fully understanding the way that we see it, perhaps. So I don't want to be sort of overly criticizing them and saying they they're supporting this, they're supporting that, and it's they're supporting animal cruelty and stuff like that. Because I don't think genuinely they support that kind of behaviour. Um, but I moan about this and I say about this because hopefully anyone listening might actually stop and think, actually they make a valid point. Um, and you know the horses get whipped repeatedly in the Grand National. They get beaten so badly with these whips to make them run faster to the point where they get exhausted and they'll trip, they'll fall, they'll collapse because of exhaustion, and they fall so badly a lot of the time. They injure themselves so badly that they have to be put down. What kind of a life is that? I mean, okay, I'll tell you what. Let's climb onto you. Let's start whipping you so that you run faster. So that you run faster and get me over that line so that I can win some money.
although I will say, if you place bets and things and you know what it's causing and you're just being ignorant, I will very happily shame you. Because if you know what's happening and you know how cruel it can be, and you're still doing it just because you want to make a bit of money,
Yeah, I think I mean, I agree. I mean, I think if you're willingly supporting something that you know is cruel and you just don't care, yeah, I'll
I find
shame
it
you.
hard to believe that you wouldn't know though.
I think there's a lot of ignorance to that though,
Mm.
and whether that's willful ignorance or just ignorance. I mean, like I say, I mean, growing up, it's only within the last few years that I've come to realise everything that goes on um, behind the scenes because of information I've firstly seen or read, that I've not looked for, and then I've gone looking for more information because I've wanted to understand it. I wanted to sort of fact check and stuff like that. And yeah, I've got to the point where I've done my research and see what kinds of stuff happens and what stuff goes on. And like yourself, I'm an animal lover. Um, and the thought, the mere thought of any kind of cruelty or mistreatment of an animal upsets me, and it angers me as well, because I don't think that any kind of cruelty to any kind of animal is an acceptable thing.
I agree.
So, and that's why I wanted to have a moan about this week, because I think it's really cruel. And going forward, I would like to see some change. I don't think we're going to get it.
I think
I
they
don't
need to
think,
lower going on the Grand National, the hedges and fences that make them jump are ridiculously high.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that horses are generally bred for either racing or jumping and stuff like that. But there's ways of making that safer, isn't there? There's ways of making it safer for them so that they don't get pushed to exhaustion, they don't hurt themselves, and they don't face losing their lives just to make someone some money. I mean,
I
don't get
agree.
me wrong. Don't get me wrong. The people that own the horses, I think they care. I think to a degree they care about them, because I think when they do get put down, they're distraught, they're upset. But then I think, well, you know the risks. Why put them through it? Why?
Exactly. And
Why? What?
sometimes they'll get leg injuries and they probably could be rehabilitated. They probably won't race again, but they could go rehab and just live a normal life. But then they'll just shoot them anyway because they can't race anymore.
Yeah, because they don't. Because they won't make them any money,
Yeah.
and that's what frustrates me. That's what really, really, really frustrates me, and that is why that is my moan this week about the Grand National. And I think generally any kind of, and I use it in inverted commas, sports that use animals to make people money, where the animals suffer or end up being euthanized.
The blood sport.
Yes, absolutely. That is all we got time for this week, and I'm quite glad we've come to the end of it, because I am feeling ill and I've struggled through the episode. But I'm going to leave you on this. Josh, where do sick bees go to get better?
Sick bees.
Yes.
I wasn't prepared for this quiz. Is it? Oh, I know what they go to the hospital in.
Hang on, no, no, wait. Where do sick bees go to get better?
A and B.
No, the hospital.
Oh God. Well, I was also going to say they get there by going in the ambulance,
Ambulance.
which sounds exactly the same in my accent. Ambulance.
But yeah, that is all we got time for. I thought we'd leave on a little bit of a joke there. Thanks for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed the episode. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time with our next episode, where we'll have a load of usual stuff and some new features for you. Thanks for listening. We hope that you've enjoyed it. Until next time, stay safe and be happy.